As a country, we are broke, we are hungry, and insecure. Despite the so many called police reforms, the police has never been a service. The rule of law is broken. Justice has a price that only the rich can afford. The fact is, in Kenya, you're guilty until proven rich. Poor people are always guilty. Young people cannot work in their communities if they have nothing in their pocket. And if they have something in their pocket, they must have an ID. The police have turned Kenyans into their cash cows and ATMs. A cop will tell you, we are poorly paid and they can't own cows. So Wakenya ndio ngombe zetu, tunawakamua. So every time a cop sees you, they milk you. And in this country, you can be killed for refusing to pay a bribe. All the rights that was granted by us by the new constitution, which is still a young baby, still a toddler, 15 is young, still a teenager, have been trashed by this regime, as if they were mere suggestions. Our president treats the constitution like tissue paper. He flouts the law, disobeys court orders, and undermines the very constitution that is sought to protect. You have a president who is a lawbreaker. He thinks this country belongs to his mother. It doesn't belong to his mother. This country belongs to all of us. And you cannot personalize a state at your own identity. The thing that defines our nation is that constitution and our national anthem. Plenty be found in our borders, not plenty be found in the president's pocket. You cannot be talking about building churches in public property worth billions of shillings while Kenyans go to bed hungry. You cannot talk about building a church while most kids in this country go to makeshift classrooms. You know, one of the people in government said that he has expensive taste. And you ask yourself, you grew up in Marakut, Elgeyo Marakwet, you went to school barefoot. Where did you develop this expensive taste? It is true. Yeah, someone is walking around in a $10,000 Italian suit, and you know how much you earn. The people that are in power are robbing us, and we know it, and they have the audacity to say, mtu apigwe risasi. Now, we must take back our power. And last year we did that, actually, people. We went to the streets, and we took back our power. But I've witnessed the brutal and deeply repression of Kenyans by this regime for simply exercising our right to protest. And instead of the violators of our rights facing justice, the victims are branded as treasonous criminals. Who is a criminal? But now, you know who is a criminal, you know. You know who the criminal is. The true criminals are protected, while our youth are brutalized for carrying placards, flags, and water. There's no denying that our government has failed us. It is allergic to being held accountable and often responds by abducting, torturing, and murdering patriotic citizens. Our leadership has failed us in numerous ways. We pay taxes expecting service, but we are forced to pay bribes to get that same service. Our leadership has auctioned us to the highest, and I dare say even the lowest bidder. Our children have been shipped like slaves to do menial jobs abroad, and sometimes they come back broken or in body bags. Instead of tapping into their potential within our borders, we are condemning them into pits of depression, alcoholism abroad. Where is the value for our people? Where is the value for human life? And where is the value for sanctity of life? We have sunk so low. Currently, we have the worst parliament in the history of this country. The People's House, Parliament, has been turned into an auction house and a rubber stamp for the executive. We have been told of stories of parliamentarians lining up in the toilet to receive 10,000 shillings to pass bills. And it breaks my heart because we have people that we pay so well. We buy them top-of-the-range cars. We give them medical cover. we give them bodyguards, we give them offices, we fuel their car, we service their cars, they travel first class, but they still have no shame. They still sell their souls to the devil. And because we are holy people in God's land, we must stay away from those demons and remove those demonic people from power. There's no way you can say that you have values and you love this country and you earn what they earn and you spend what they spend and you flout what they do. The work of parliamentarians and the work of the president is to run a country, parliament is to pass law and check the executive. They cannot be on the same bed. So you need to break that bed, because that bed is an unholy bed. Wanafanya nini kwa kitanda moja? There are two different houses. So as we stand here, our country must be taken back into our hands. That is my call to you. That my call is, we reclaim back our power, and we must take action. We must recognize that the power is within us, that we can change our situation, and we must act now. Unajua kwamba Waswahili walisema Wakenya wakirevuka mkora kwa mashakani. Na kwa sababu Wakenya wamerevuka, hawa wakora wako mashakani. Each and every one of us must recognize and believe that we have what it takes to create a better Kenya, a better life. For Kenya, we can do this. We can change our situation. I want to give an example of what they used to divide us, because that's one of the strongest weapon against us, and that we have taken it back. Tribalism, for example, has been used to divide us for too long. It only benefits the politicians, their families, and their friends. It's the poor people who suffer the brunt of tribal politics. Let's not forget that over 1,500 Kenyans were murdered and over 500,000 displaced in the 2007-2008 post-election violence. To date, they have never received justice. Some lost their lands, lost their homes, and lost lives. And the sponsors and the perpetrators of the violence today run this country. And that is a mistake. We gave our constitution, our country, and the future of our kids to gangsters. And their actions every single day proves to us that they're gangsters. You know, I have 3 beautiful kids. And if you came to my house and you said, I'm looking for work as a nanny to work for you, and I said, what's your track record? And say, oh, I was once accused of stealing land of an internally displaced person. I was once charged with crimes against humanity. I was charged with rape. I would not invite you to my house. So how did we end up electing people accused of crimes against humanity to run our country? We need to interrogate ourselves as a country, because if we don't, we might make the same mistake again, and Kenya will forever be lost. Right now we have a bit of sanity, but we are going towards insanity. And the political class has come together to defeat the will of the people. And that's the reason why we must defeat tribalism. We all know hunger has no tribe, cancer has no tribe, poverty has no tribe. So when they introduce tribalism, we must refuse. And you know, when you take a child to school or you pay bus fare, you don't say, oh, you know, I'm a Calais, fare is cheaper. Or if you know you can't go to a bank anywhere and say, oh, how much money do you want? You say amount of money. Then you put source of funds, savings, credit, you put your tribe. Doesn't work like that. So if tribe is not a check we can cash, it can be a currency that we use to operate this country. We must stay away from tribalism. You know, fellow patriots, we must act now. We are tribeless, we are fearless, and we are one, bound by our values of Article 10 of our Constitution, and our love for each other. A tribeless Kenya is possible and good for us all. The Gen Zs showed us what that looks like. That being tribeless is our powerful weapon against the laws of impunity. And that's why if you see anyone in this country mobilizing around tribe, that's a very dangerous person. Please note that. Anyone, even me, and I've never said I'm my tribe actually. You know, my last born has a Luo name. People always ask him, Baba yako ni Mjaluo, ama baba yako ni tofauti? Because when they were born, my wife and I decided that we're going to bring our kids in a different country. And we're trying to do that. I know that you are ready, able and willing to change this country. And you have one weapon, love and courage. You have love for this country that we deeply, deeply love. And that love is going to be our driving force. You know, what they have on the other side is hate and violence. And we're going to encounter that with the courage to believe we can change this country. Part of the leadership of the movement are in this room, and we sat down after July protests and we said, we're losing too many kids, and we've gone to too many funerals. And we realized there's one thing they can't do. They can't out-organize us. So we stopped agonizing, and now we are organizing to bring about a ballot revolution. We have a very beautiful country, very beautiful. People pay lots of money to come here, and we call this place home. And so we can't afford to lose our country to the bandits of impunity. And that's why we must create a Kenya that works for all of us, not some of us. The greatest gift we can give ourselves and our kids and our grandkids is reclaiming this country from the hands of the bandits. My dream for the new Kenya is possible, and that is a dream. And that is a Kenya that is food for all. I want to ensure that education is free from kindergarten all the way to the university. You don't pay a single cent. Yeah. This conmanship of charging exams and charging education is so wrong. You know, when President Kibaki was elected in 2002, he said January 3rd, everyone reports to school. There was no budget, there was no allocation, and education was free. So most of us here, the Gen Z, went to school when Kibaki was not charging any fees. And much later, we have a bigger budget, and we can't afford to educate our kids. And that is a failure as a country. So I'm going to ensure that there's free education for all. Quality healthcare will be free. Afya bora ya bure. Not this she scam, you know, this scam that they're running. Shisha scam. We just lost 11 billion shillings.